Janet Haley Dean was born on December 17, 1929, to proud parents Millard and Emmeline. In the 1930 census, the Dean family was living in Santa Cruz. By 1940, they had moved to Watsonville, living at 29 Roosevelt Street. Watsonville at the time was a small agricultural town, best known for its apples, including those pressed by the iconic Martinellis, headquartered right in town since 1868. We can be certain Janet drank more than a few bottles of Martinellis in her youth. She married a local boy, Vernon Lee Beilby, on October 16, 1948. He was born December 27, 1927, to Leroy and Vetta, and grew up just blocks away from Janet at 142 Blackburn Street. By the 1940 census, he was 12 years old, living there with his parents and brother Carl. After the wedding, the young couple didn't leave Watsonville. According to the 1950 census, they were at 28 Ford Street, Apartment C, but they wouldn't stay there long. Vernon had a love for flight. In 1951, he was mentioned in an article in the Salinas Californian for prowess shown in a demo flight. The next year, he earned his airframe and power plant certifications from the Civil Aeronautics Authority at Hartnell A&M, right there in Salinas. By 1956, voter records placed the Beilbys in Imperial County, and by 1957, Janet's name appears in the Calexico Chronicle as part of the Business and Professional Women's Club in El Centro. We can't say for certain whether they lived in El Centro or in the nearby city of Imperial. Voter rolls often list only the county, but what matters is this: they were there, in the Imperial Valley, when the lettuce ruled. And Janet entered a salad recipe contest. January 1958, the 4th annual El Centro Lettuce Festival. The event was a cornerstone of civic pride in Imperial County. Agriculture was booming. Over $130 million in crops were produced that year. Lettuce was king, and the festival celebrated it with pageants, parades, food booths, and community contests. Among the entries, Fascination Salad, submitted by one Mrs. Vernon Beilby. Lettuce, bacon, hard-boiled eggs, green onion, and a dressing made from vinegar, sugar, and reserved bacon drippings. Notably, some of the other award-winning salads in the contest included crumbled Roquefort or blue cheese, a sign of shifting American tastes at the time. But Janet's salad kept it simple and hearty. Eventually, Janet and Vernon left Imperial County. By 1971, Vernon was in West Sacramento, bidding on municipal land. He lost the bid, but the mention places them squarely in the region. Later, they moved to Greenwood. Vernon even registered a 1942 Boeing PT-13D biplane there in 1998. This wasn't just a hobby, it was a passion. A thread running through his entire life, from Hartnell A&M to a hangar in the Sierra foothills. Vernon died in March 2014. Janet followed in October that same year. Both were cremated. Their ashes were given to family or friends. No formal headstones, no burial sites. But they left records, and Janet left a recipe. The recipe calls for lettuce, iceberg being the default of its era. Crisp, cold, a carrier more than a flavor. In 1958, this was the American standard, and Imperial County grew acres of it. Even today, lettuce dominates the fields, along with a multitude of other vegetables destined for the rest of the country. Bacon, cooked until crisp and chopped. We'll render off the fat and save those drippings. That's the secret weapon in the dressing. Janet didn't just use mayonnaise. She whisked bacon grease into the mix. That's Depression-era wisdom. Waste nothing, flavor everything. Hard-boiled eggs, sliced thin. Green onions, chopped. All of it layered over iceberg. The dressing is creamy, savory, and just a little sweet, thanks to a pinch of sugar. It's not bold like Roquefort, but that's not what Janet was going for. She wasn't making a statement. She was making supper. As I assemble it, I wonder, did she test this recipe on Vernon before submitting it? Did they sit at a table in El Centro or Imperial, or maybe a trailer on the edge of a field and say, "Is this the one?" It's not refined, it's not delicate, it's frontier food, from a woman who moved often, who probably had to sometimes make something from very little. I don't know if Janet would have called it her signature dish. Maybe it was just something on a flyer. A moment of pride at a folding table under a tent in El Centro. But here we are, nearly 70 years later, remembering her through this odd, beautiful little thing she made. A salad filled with fascination. History is strange like that. Sometimes it survives through a headline, a war, a monument, and sometimes a salad.